Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what I can only describe as an absolute masterclass in human development. We are going to explore the profound teachings of Hazrat Luqman, as recorded in the Quranic chapter Surah Luqman. We aren't just looking at ancient history here. What we have in front of us is a timeless, architectural blueprint for building an incredible, resilient human character.
But before we get into the blueprint itself, we kind of need to know the architect, right? Who was Hazrat Luqman? Well, based on the source text, he actually wasn't a prophet. He was a deeply pious, incredibly sagacious figure, widely believed to be from Ethiopia or Sudan. God endowed him with a really unique gift, hikmet, or profound wisdom. He's famously known as Luqman al-Hakim, which translates to Luqman the Wise. And the very first step to unlocking this divine wisdom, it starts with absolute, profound gratitude to the Creator. Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to break this down into 6 key stages today. First, the foundation of faith. Then, honoring parents, divine justice, prayer and action, humility and refined character, and finally, the final blueprint.
So starting things off with Section 1, the foundation of faith. You know, every strong building absolutely needs an unbreakable foundation. I mean, if the foundation is cracked, the whole skyscraper is eventually coming down, right? No matter how gorgeous it looks on the outside. For Luqman, the foundation of our character starts deep within what we believe. True wisdom, that beautiful concept of hikmat, is tied directly to absolute gratitude toward the Creator. You literally can't have one without the other. And the ultimate expression of that gratitude is recognizing the oneness of God and avoiding the greatest injustice possible. And listen to how Luqman frames this. He speaks with this incredible, intimate warmth of a father advising his son. He says, "O my son, do not associate anything with Allah. Indeed, associating partners is a massive wrong." Rejecting polytheism, or shirk, is the very first completely non-negotiable step here. We have to secure that relationship with the divine before we can build anything else. Moving right along to Section 2, honoring your parents. Once that foundation is poured, Luqman immediately shifts from our relationship with the Creator to our closest worldly circle. The source text points us here. We have enjoined upon man care for his parents. Be grateful to me and to your parents. Now, what's really interesting about this is how God places gratitude to parents right next to gratitude to himself. The text specifically calls out the immense physical hardships a mother goes through, during pregnancy and nursing. Recognizing that profound sacrifice is absolutely central to building a righteous character. But, and this is crucial, there's a very nuanced boundary introduced here. Luqman teaches that we've got to treat our parents with incredible kindness in this life. That basic human respect, that's unconditional. However, spiritual obedience belongs strictly to God. So if parents try to force you to associate partners with God, well, you don't obey them in that one specific area. It's a masterful balance, really. Unwavering worldly respect combined with clear, unbreakable spiritual boundaries. Which brings us to Section 3, divine justice and omniscience. We've got the foundation down, but now we need structural integrity. And that comes from an unwavering sense of ultimate accountability. I want you to think about this question for a second. How closely is the universe actually watching you? It's pretty easy to do the right thing when human eyes are on you, right? When your community is watching. But what about when you're totally alone, completely hidden from the world? Luqman paints this incredibly vivid picture for his son. He says, "O my son, even if a deed were the weight of a mustard seed, hidden in a rock or in the heavens or the earth, Allah will bring it forth." And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute perfection of divine justice. I mean, think about it. A tiny microscopic mustard seed buried inside a solid rock, lost somewhere in the vast cosmos. God sees it. Ultimate justice misses absolutely nothing, which means literally every single one of our actions, no matter how tiny, truly matters. All right, Section 4, prayer, patience, and action. Now we're moving from the invisible beliefs inside our hearts to the visible exterior walls of our character blueprint. Because faith requires action. Listen to the energy in this next command. "O my son, establish prayer, enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong, and be patient over what befalls you." This makes it so clear that true faith isn't just about sitting quietly in a room somewhere. It demands active, courageous participation in your community and the grit to handle the inevitable pushback. Let's move to and see how this actually builds into a super practical step-by-step formula. Step 1, establish prayer. That keeps you spiritually grounded and connected to the Creator. Steps 2 and 3, enjoin good and forbid evil, meaning you're actively trying to make your society better. And then step 4, be patient in adversity. Why? Because the very second you stand up for what's right, you're going to face challenges, for sure. Patience is the armor you need to survive all that. Next up is Section 5, humility and refined character.
So now we're at the finishing touches of the blueprint. This is all about how we physically present ourselves to the world. Our daily manners, our body language, the way we speak. The text says, "Do not turn your cheek in arrogance toward people, nor walk proudly on the earth. Indeed, Allah does not like the arrogant." This ancient rejection of arrogance is honestly fascinating. And frankly, it's the perfect antidote to our modern ego-driven culture today. Looking down on others just because you have more wealth or knowledge or status, that completely wrecks the character we've just spent all this time building.
Just notice the stark visual contrast here. On one side, you have arrogance, right? Swelling the cheek, turning away dismissively when people talk to you, strutting around proudly. But on the other side, we have the wise alternative, moderation, a balanced, composed stride, a gentle, approachable vibe. A truly wise person doesn't need to puff out their chest to prove they matter. Their quiet dignity just speaks for itself. And Luqman wraps up his advice on manners with a remarkably vivid and honestly kind of funny point. He says, "Be moderate in your pace and lower your voice. Indeed, the most disagreeable of sounds is the braying of donkeys." It's such a great image. Screaming, yelling, throwing tantrums, all of that totally contradicts true wisdom and civilization. True intellect is reflected in soft, refined, polite speech. So let's just leave the loud braying to the donkeys, right?
And finally, Section 6, the final blueprint.
Wow, we've covered a massive amount of ground today, all the way from the deepest spiritual truths of the universe, right down to the literal volume of our daily conversations. Zooming out to look at the whole completed structure, the crucial point is that these teachings form 4 universal pillars we can all start applying today. First, prioritize the moral training of the youth. Pass that wisdom down, just like Luqman did. Second, remember that absolute gratitude to the Creator is the root of all wisdom. Third, reject all forms of arrogance. And fourth, understand that refined speech really is the truest reflection of a high intellect.
This brings us to a really powerful conclusion. Hazrat Luqman left a legacy of wisdom so profound, so structurally sound, that it was recorded in the Quran for all of eternity as a guide for humanity. It kind of makes you wonder about your own legacy, doesn't it? If you could leave only one piece of wisdom for the next generation, what would your blueprint look like? Think about that as you go about your day. Thank you so much for exploring this incredible source material with me in today's explainer, and I'll catch you next time.